Alright, we're going to do a quick unboxing for the E-Collar-Mini Educator. It's the ET300, has a half-a-mile range, means it works for a half a mile. This is everything you'll get when you purchase the E-Collar. Now we use the E-Collar for 2-week training programs, 2-week and up. It's a way you can communicate with your dog from a distance. It's basically all it is. Alright, so when you open the box, you are going to see a few things. You're going to see the E-Collar remote. This is what you use to communicate with the dog. You are going to see a receiver, the collar portion. Okay, you will see a charger, lanyard so you can put it around your neck, and some accessories. So we're going to go through these things one at a time. This is the Mini Educator E-Collar remote. All right, it has a few functions. It's pretty simple. I'm going to go over the buttons with you really quickly. All right, so the way we set it up for training, this one is momentary. This button is continuous. So this black button here is like an old-fashioned shock collar, just gives one quick boop and that's it. This button right here is continuous. As long as you hold the button down, you'll give a continuous signal to the dog. It lasts about 15 seconds. So if it's in your pocket or something and it gets depressed for some reason, it'll only give a stim for 15 seconds or less. All right, on the other side here, this button can be set up for tone or vibrate. We don't use this a whole lot except for the more advanced dogs. We set it on a tone setting. When you get the collar from the manufacturer, it's going to be set on a vibrate setting. All right, this right here is the display window. It lets you know what's going on with levels, everything like that. This right here on the top, this knob, that's how you control the levels. In a second you'll see how we'll do that. Okay, this little doob right here is the antenna. Sometimes these things break off. If they do, you can order just another antenna. If anything breaks on these, it's usually this, and it's not very often. Okay. Alright, so on the back of the collar here, you have a couple of buttons. This button right here, the small button, it controls what these two buttons do. So momentary and continuous, it comes set from the factory, momentary continuous. We leave it that way, but there's several different ways you can set it up. To change the momentary continuous, you'll have to hold this button down until you see it change on the front. This button in the middle serves 3 purposes. The main purpose is to turn the collar on and off. Hold it down, collar goes on, hold it down again, collar turns off. 1 quick press turns on a light on the collar. 2 quick presses makes the light go from blinking to continuous. This little thing right here is the charging port. All right, easy enough. Alright, so this right here is the collar portion. This is the receiver. So you have a transmitter and receiver. Pretty easy. It comes with a very long biotine buckle, and you'll have to cut this off to fit your dog. It's usually really long. Not many working parts, moving parts to this. A couple things to note. On the inside here, these are your prongs. This is what touches the dog and calls us a signal. Note that sometimes dogs have allergies to these, and you'll know really quickly. These should never leave marks on dogs. So when you take the E-Collar off your dog, make sure that you inspect the neck really well and make sure there's no marks. If you are seeing any marks from these, it is because usually there's an allergic reaction. It happens very quickly, and we'll just have to order different prongs for this. They have different metals. Okay, right here is your charging port for the remote collar. All right, on this other side is a light. The light lets you know that the collar is on and working. Flashing green like it is now means the collar's on. This little red dot coincides with a red dot on the E-Collar itself, the remote, and to turn them on and off, you just touch the 2 red dots together and you'll see that go to red. So if you saw that, touch them together, it's on, touch them together, it's off. It works off of a magnet. So okay, we're going to turn the remote collar on. the receiver. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to just hold this L button down in the back and you will see a light come on. Alright, light means it's on. This light will flash green, let you know that it's charged. Now I'm going to turn the receiver on, or the collar portion on. So we're just going to touch these two red dots together, green light comes on. Now, if I press the momentary button, the red button or the black button, you'll see a light come on one time. That red light means it's getting signal. Okay? If I hold the continuous button, you will see the light come on and stay on. That lets you know that it's getting continuous signal. Notice also the light on the remote is on. Okay? So see both. That's momentary. That's continuous. Okay? You can see how they're both on. Now when this light right here starts to flash amber, then it means it's about ready to be charged. When it starts flashing red, then it's not getting any signal because the battery's dead. Alright, so to adjust the levels on this collar, you are simply going to turn this knob up and down. Whatever level it is here is what's going to affect these two buttons. Alright, one of the things that's most common with these collars, the most calls I get about them, are they get locked in the whatever level it is. So I don't know if you can see here at the top, but at the top there's a 1D flashing. Maybe you can see it now that the light's out better. There's a 1D flashing there. All right. Now that 1D needs to stay flashing because that means we can turn the remote and adjust the levels. Okay. Now, if I hold the button, you'll see that 1D is not flashing anymore, and hopefully you can see that. You cannot adjust the levels. So if you just hold it down, watch this light on below here, hold it down, the light's red. When it flashes green, the 1D should be blinking again. Alright, so that's something very common. Alright, so in the box you get a lanyard that goes on this little deal right here. So you can hang it around your neck and you won't drop it. You also get a charger. Now the charger plugs in here and plugs in here. You can charge both of these at the same time, and I recommend you do it every night. Okay, and so that's a charger it comes with. All right, you get a few little accessories here. One of the accessories you get is a little doober. That's what I call it. It's a little tool to take these prongs on and off. Now you also get some additional contact points for different lengths of hair. So you'll have, with each one you'll have 2 shorts and 2 longs. Okay, now this little magic thing right here lets you test the collar. So you're just going to hold it onto the points like that. You're going to have the collar on, you're going to push the button, and it lights up letting you know that the collar's working. All right. All right, another thing you're going to get in the box is an owner's manual. It's not extremely complete, but it has a lot of good information on there. If you have problems with the collars or the buttons get reassigned or whatever, the company is very good about calling you back and walking you through stuff. You will also get a warranty e-collar registration card, extremely important. If you want it to be covered under warranty, just fill out this card. On the back of the collar will have your collar number, and they usually write it on the invoice too. Into e-collar fit, how to fit the e-collar. I have a couple here. This is the one that normally goes on Layla. It's for long-haired dogs. Helps you get through the hair. Okay, this is your traditional prong collar. This is your traditional e-collar with shorter prongs on it, and that would be for your shorter haired dogs. So what we're going to do, so you're going to have the e-collar or the prong collar on. Okay, the e-collar is going to come right up under this. Okay, and I want it pretty tight. It's going to be tight enough to make connection. A lot of times what will happen is you won't have it tight enough, so you won't be getting attachment on the neck, and so you need to make sure this is tight enough where it's making contact. I'm going to go one more. Now if you have it too tight, you will hear the dog gag and choke, and that's never good. So it's going to be under the prong collar. You have the prong collar here, E-collar underneath. Now once I put it on, I'm going to move the hair back and forth so it makes good contact. I like it to run along this muscle on the side of the neck. Okay, it can kind of be anywhere down here, but that's just my preference. Now with these collars, make sure that you are moving them every couple hours. They should be moved from one side to the other. They'll start to leave pressure marks, and those pressure marks will become pressure sores, so make sure you're moving this around. Set your timer to move the collars, extremely important. Other than that, there's not a whole lot to putting the collars on. Alright, so we have these two collars on. Now I'm going to add a flat buckle collar and a carabiner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the flat buckle collar down here. Slide this up a little bit. Oh, it's a little too loose for her. The flat buckle collar here. Alright, it's a lot of jewelry, isn't it? I'm going to take the carabiner. I'm going to go through here. This other D-ring. So I still have the ring for the leash. I'm going to go through this D-ring here. Okay, and that's going to give me a safety. Now, I don't completely recommend it, but if you don't want to use this flat buckle collar, you can go through the little ring on the E-collar. They have a little D-ring here that you can go through, or a ring that you can go through on the flat collar, or on the prong collar. So this is the way I recommend you set it up. Prong collar, E-collar, flat collar. Now the reason this is in place is because the prong collar has a lot of moving parts, and what will happen is as you're walking and taking the collar on and off over and over again, eventually you're going to do this and you're only going to clip one little clip. So see how that is right there? And so you're just walking along with your dog, you have the leash attached, and before you know it, you will just have the prong collar and the leash in your hand and no dog. So that allows attachment to the dog. So if this fails, you still have the dog. Very important thing. We don't want anybody to lose their dogs.